What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Honeystead. I did not take the camera with me in the last 2 days, but I'll show you what we have been up to. So I'm hoping that this is a good idea. I gave my mom the flamethrower. And we have been, let me rephrase that. She has been coming and burning all of the holes in the ground cover. I have to go back through with a little mini torch to get just the extra little bit, but she's on a mission with the flamethrower. Do you feel dangerous with that thing?
Hot!
I know. You're doing good though.
Yep, this last little bit.
You want to show them how you've been doing it?
Burning hose.
We have a flamethrower attachment on just a regular propane tank, and she has to get it lit first for the canister that's on the end to get hot for us to be able to burn the holes here in the ground cover. Then we also learned that if you set it down when it's hot, it will do this. This was your oops. That's okay. We'll plant something.
I was gonna plant a big pumpkin.
You were gonna plant a big pumpkin right there.
I got a little carried away.
You got, yes. Right now, she's finishing up burning all of the holes, and we're gonna kind of walk you through, and I've shared with you guys, this is not ideal that I necessarily want, but what it comes down to is food and time, and I have been very open about when it comes to gardening. If I have to do a lot of weeding, I at some point I just kind of give up, and that's partially my flaw. If I was only doing the garden, I think I could do it, but I do a lot more than just gardening. So here's what I'm thinking. On this side, we're gonna have some of our squash and our cantaloupe, things that kind of grow and need a little bit more space. And then on that side, my mom started making the holes just a little bit closer together. What I think that's going to help us do is if I plant corn or lettuce. Are we out of propane?
Yep, we're out of holes to burn.
Yay!
I also caught the grass on fire.
You caught the grass on fire?
Just a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
I said fence too.
You caught the fence on fire.
A weed?
So now I have to come back through here and just tap each hole, and then we can start planting. But I want to do beans, I want to do corn, I want to do lettuce starts, all of that on this side. I think it'll just be a little bit easier. I'd love to do corn around here, but I have a feeling that the cows and the goats are gonna eat it. Maybe not. It might be worth trying.
It's a little hot.
It is a little hot. Let me go into the high tunnel before it gets too hot, and I'll show you what I'm up to. Yesterday, I came up here and I started heavy pruning all of this whole side of the tomato plants, and then I have this whole side that needs a little bit of love and attention. So this is the trellising system that we use. It's called a tomahawk hook, and it's essentially a string that is on a hook, and I run them all the way down. So far, I've had really good success with using them for our tomato plants, but I know that other people will use them for green beans as well as cucumbers. But for right now, cucumbers are just easier for me to grow outside, and we strictly use pretty much the greenhouse for tomato plants, mainly because with this greenhouse, I can have tomato plants growing until like after Christmas, which is crazy. But typically by then, I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling up all the tomato plants and then start planting other things in here that we can, grow throughout the winter time. So I had all intentions to take the camera with me, but it got hot, and so I got a little sunburn, but that's okay. So let me show you what I have been kind of working on outside of taking care of the animals and spending some time with my family. Because it's starting to get really hot, we went ahead and covered the greenhouse with the shade cloth. This is a confession here. I have totally slacked on trying to get my potatoes in the ground. So we're a little late to the game, but I think it's gonna be okay. So we're growing our potatoes here this go around. We're gonna do the root stout method again. We had really good success with that last go around, but we're planting all the potatoes on this side, and I still have a good bit more. I think I'm gonna save a good bit of this section to do some sweet potatoes too. And then I will show you what my mama did. My daughter came up here and helped as well, which was really, really a blessing. I haven't gotten this side done. I will be working on that probably a little bit tomorrow, and then just a little every day. Like, I'm going to try to pick one thing to plant every single day. And we did a pretty big section of corn. A lot of the ones that we planted this year were from Haas Tools. One of them was called the honey sweet, honey something. I was like, oh, come on now. I'm a beekeeper, we have to plant it. It says honey. So we planted all of our corn here, and then I'm gonna kind of come through and figure I'm probably gonna do squash and green beans. I think I have some bush beans from Haas Tools that I'm gonna try to plant, and then I also have some regular pole beans. But what I think I'm going to do is I've got some netting, and I'm gonna grab some T-post, and I'd like to go ahead and stake that into the ground so that it gives the green beans something to kind of trellis on. Eventually, I would love to have an entire like tunnel down this row where it's like cattle panel tunnel, much like the ones over there in the main garden area. But as you can see, the bees are all kind of flying. So that side is pretty much going to be kept for our medicinal herbs. My goal is to grow an abundance of this year, whether it is going to be for us or for helping out other people. But I want to put food away. That's my goal this year. We have got all the opportunity to can and freeze dry and just grow it, store it, put it away. That's my goal. Look how pretty this gorgeous little rose is. This little plant right here is called wood sorrel. And you see these little itty bitty pods that are growing on it. So if you pick these pods, guess what? You can eat it as well. Woo! They're very sour, but they're definitely pretty good. I never actually finished the video of us taking care and doing stuff in the garden. The reason is because we had our beekeeping workshop here in our apiary and up in our apothecary. We had a bunch of people come from all over, and they came and experienced the bees with us and what it takes to become a beekeeper. Where do you start? When do you start? How do you start? But we also were able to incorporate a little bit of herbalism in that as well. Not just herbalism for humans, but herbs for the bees and the medicinal properties that the thyme and oregano and certain plants, what it offers for the overall bee health. That's something that I'm extremely fascinated with, and I will forever be researching plants, not just for myself, but for also the bees. I showed them how to make their own plantain oil so that they could make their own skin salve with their beeswax, and of course they were able to leave with that. Now, I talked about plantain and how I use it, especially if I get stung by a bee. So I wanted to make sure that they had that knowledge, because this is essentially, plantain is essentially a weed that grows all over the place. And we talked about propolis and all the medicinal properties that that offers, and how the bees gather the resin from the trees to be able to come back and keep their colony healthy, keep it thriving and safe for them, but again, how the propolis works for you as a beekeeper, what you can do with the propolis. We were lucky enough to be able to pull a frame of honey and show them how we uncap it and how we test it with the refractometer so that you can measure the moisture content inside the honey. And we got to spin it and everybody was able to leave with some honey. So I don't think that that's going to be the last beekeeping workshop. I do plan on doing many more in the future. We do have one coming up in October, and then the following year we're going to be rolling on it again, and we will keep you guys posted. And if anybody wants to come and participate, it's a good weekend for sure. And I know I shared last year that my plan is to have this course set up for online as well. I'm just working out a few kinks and making sure that the layout is exactly the way I would want to learn. And that's kind of the ultimate goal. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty and learn something old. Bye guys.